Kaffa, Crimea, known today as Feodosia, 1345. A port town, home to more than 60,000 people. A bustling hub of trade where people of different races, colors, and religions mix. The city has been under attack for a year now by the Mongols, but it has managed to defend itself thanks to the encircling stone walls surrounding it. The soldiers of Kaffa are tired, but their morale is high, as they have been able to repel the attacking forces with few casualties on their side. Inside the walls, business goes on as usual, as goods from the Mediterranean still make their way into the town through its ports. It feels as though life, even under siege, can carry on. Until one afternoon, a soldier is sleeping inside his shoddy quarters, when suddenly, a loud thud and a splash-like sound from the roof wakes him up. Still groggy, he soon hears more of the same sounds outside. Rain, he thinks, or maybe some street vendors quarreling. Unable to sleep because of the noise, he decides to shut his window. He stands, walks over, and looks outside. A drop of liquid falls onto the window frame. He is shocked. It is raining. But this is no ordinary rain. The droplets are red. Days later, the city of Kaffa, once so lively, looks abandoned. Its streets are silent. People collapse randomly. Others vomit in the corners. Screams reverberate through the alleys. What has happened in these past few days? And what was that rain? Why was it red? What is causing all of this? This is the curious case of the Scarlet Rain of Kaffa. This happened in 1345, but to understand it, let us go back 7 years earlier, 3,500 kilometers away from Kaffa, Kyrgyzstan, 1338. Near Lake Issyk stood a small trading village, a modest stop along the Silk Road, connecting the west to the far east. 2 camels at a time, caravans enter the village. People from the north, west, and east gather to trade goods such as horses, sheep, medicinal plants, stones, animal furs. The elders are content, the adults busy with trade, the children full of energy. Loud haggling fills every corner. It feels like eternal. But eternity ends quickly. A month later, something has changed. The village is empty. Stalls abandoned. No horses, no camels, no traders, no bright silks. The houses stand vacant. All that remains are stones carved with symbols, lined up beside some of the homes. Where is everyone? Where did they go? And how is this event connected to the scarlet rain that befell Kaffa? Now, we jump 5 years later. 1343. Tana, east of Kaffa. Like Kaffa, it is booming with trade. This land was originally controlled by the Mongols, but is now under the governance of the Genoese. So, who exactly are the Genoese? Not an empire, not a kingdom, just merchants from the small Italian city-state of Genoa. Yet somehow, they control Kaffa, Tana, and several vital Black Sea ports. How? In the early 1300s, Kaffa and 6 other Crimean port cities were under the control of various Italian city-states, including Genoa. The Khan of the Golden Horde, Toktai Khan, a later successor to the infamous Genghis Khan, disliked that these merchants were selling Turkic slaves to Mamluk Sultanate, their then enemy. So, he forced them out of the Crimean Peninsula. However, his successor, Expeg Khan, allowed the Genoese to return to Kaffa. He even granted them land in Tana to expand their network. Soon, Kaffa became the Genoese stronghold, one of the most important and lucrative ports in the Black Sea, an artery bridging the Silk Road. But these changes after long normalcy never come smoothly. People of different beliefs and cultures can coexist, but not without friction. Tana is a Muslim land, and since the 1200s, the Mongols had been Muslims. The Genoese, meanwhile, were Christians. From time to time, small embers of disagreement flared between the two groups. But this ember grew bigger and bigger until it became a fireball ready to explode. One day, a group of Italian Christians and Mongolian Muslims clashed. The fight left one Muslim dead. Fearing retaliation, the Italians fled onto ships and sailed to Kaffa for protection. The new leader of the Golden Horde, Johnny Beg, successor to Expeg Khan, pursued them from Tana to Kaffa. At Kaffa's gates, he demanded the culprits be surrendered. The city refused. Insulted, Johnny Beg launched an attack. For a year, the Mongols tried to breach Kaffa's walls, but the stones held. 15,000 Mongol soldiers died, and Johnny Beg withdrew. Now, 1345. We return to our timeline. Inside Kaffa, a notary named Gabriele de Mussi hears a horrifying rumor. He learns that beyond Kaffa's walls, far to the east, towns are being abandoned, one after another. A creeping emptiness, moving toward Kaffa. A curse from God, people whisper. Outside Kaffa, Johnny Beg has returned once more to launch another siege. Day after day, his men attempt to scale the walls, but they fail. Then, suddenly, one of his soldiers collapses and dies. Black swellings cover his body. Soon, 2 follows, then 4, then 8. An entire army begins to drop like flies. Inside the city, the Genoese celebrate. They believe God is on their side. They believe the walls protect them not only from the Mongols, but from the curse. But Johnny Beg thinks otherwise. Now we return to the soldier. He wakes from the thud. He stands, looks outside. What he sees is not ordinary rain. Red liquid. He touches it. It feels familiar. He knows what it is. Blood. He looks up. A human feet dangles atop his roof. His eyes sharpen as he looks outside. Blood. The dead are raining from the sky. The residents panic as the streets fill with the bodies of Mongol soldiers. Beyond the walls, Johnny Beg, unwilling to accept defeat, orders his catapults to hurl the remains of his fallen men into Kaffa. If he cannot take the city, he will curse it and take them down with him. The Genoese bury the bodies, but there are too many. Overwhelmed, they begin dumping them into the sea. The stench fills the streets. Rats swarm. Fleas feed. Residents hide in their homes. Soon, the water changes taste, poisoned. And days later, Kaffa's inhabitants begin to fall. First, those who handled the corpses. Black swellings, high fevers, diarrhea, then death. Then, it spreads. Even those who avoided the corpses fall ill. Panic ensues. Those who can flee, flee. They escape Kaffa. They sail to Italy, the Mediterranean islands, North Africa. But they do not travel alone. They carry with them what will be known as the Black Death, a plague that will claim 60 million lives in Europe. So, what is the Black Death? The Black Death, also known as the bubonic plague, is caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis. Symptoms include fever, chills, headache, swollen lymph nodes, and in severe cases, blackened, gangrenous tissue. But what does this information have to do with our story? Do you remember the abandoned village in Kyrgyzstan? The stones left behind were no normal stones, but are tomb markers. The carvings named the dead, and sometimes recorded their cause of death. Modern studies show that bubonic plague could have started in Central Asia, Kyrgyzstan in particular. Yersinia pestis has always existed in nature, but the specific bacterium that jump-started the plague was linked to marmots near Lake Issyk. It appears the natives near the lake hunted the marmots, and the disease was spread through trade. A stone left in the village near Lake Issyk recorded pestilence as the cause of death. A DNA test was conducted on the remains, and the bacterium of specific Yersinia pestis was found. Of course, the story is not so straightforward with respect to its accuracy. Gabriele de Mussi, the notary who recorded the Siege of Kaffa, may never have been there. His account could have been second-hand. The biological warfare may or may not be true, but some evidence suggests that the plague could already have entered Kaffa way before Johnny Beg's grim catapult tactic. Rats can pass through the walls of Kaffa. Fleas spread silently. The corpses may have only coincided with the outbreak. And so, that is the mystery of the Scarlet Rain. A rain not of water, but of the dead. The rain that heralded a plague that would sweep across continents and silence millions. This file is closed, for now, but not forgotten. Thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you want to investigate some more curiosities, subscribe, so we can unfold more stories and unravel the mysterious, the bizarre, and the untold.